Hi class, this is course 2, lesson 67, geometric solids. So geometric solids take up space. Okay, so there's 6 of them listed here: a sphere, cylinder, cone, a cube, a triangular prism, a pyramid. All of those are geometric solids. They are 3D, three-dimensional. So let's see, a sphere and a cylinder and a cone. A sphere would be like a basketball. A cylinder is like a can, a soup can. It has a circle for a base. A cone has a circle for the base and is pointed. A cube, a triangular prism, and a pyramid are polyhedrons. Okay, polyhedrons are made up of polygons. Okay, so they follow the same rules as polygons. They have no curved edges, which is why a sphere, a cylinder, and a cone are not polyhedron or polyhedra, as it might mention in the book. Okay, so their faces are all polygons for polyhedron. Cube, triangular prism, and pyramid are examples of those. Some vocabulary that you need to know. A face is the flat surface of a geometric solid. So on the cube we have squares that are faces. Triangular prism has a triangle, 3 rectangles, and another triangle. A pyramid has a square or a triangle as the base, and then triangles up the side. An edge is formed where 2 faces meet on a geometric solid. So you can think of that as like where they crease or where you fold. So this is an edge, this is an edge, the top here is an edge, the side is an edge. Vertex or vertices are formed where 3 or more edges meet on the geometric solid. Those would be the points. So the corners maybe is what you want to think of them as, like here and here. Those are vertices. A prism is a polyhedron that has at least one set of opposite faces, which we will call bases, that are the same shape. So a cube has a base of a square, and then opposite it is another base. A triangular prism is named triangular prism because that tells you what kind of base you have. It has a triangle for a base and then another triangle for a base. Those are parallel and they are congruent. Okay, so they're in parallel planes. A pyramid will have a square or a triangle for a base, but it's not a prism because it doesn't have another one opposite it. Okay. A rectangular prism is a box or a cube. Rectangular prism will have congruent rectangular faces that are opposite each other. So, and you can see page 473 for instructions on drawing the prisms. But you'll have, it'll look like a box, right? You'll have a face, and then you kind of dashed line back, and a solid line back, and then a dashed line through, a solid line, and a solid line, and a solid line, and then a dashed line down, and then a solid line across. That would be a rectangular prism, your base being a rectangle and your opposite being a rectangle there. Triangular prism, we just talked about that, and I have down here that it's like a Toblerone. That's a candy bar. I have an example of one of those in my desk at school, so I'll make sure to show that to you. A net is simply an unfolded representation of a 3D figure, and so this net here is an example of a cereal box. You have a front that would be opposite the back, and 2 sides, and then a top and a bottom. And so if we fold on those dotted lines, we would make a cereal box. Surface area is the combined area of all surfaces, and again, because we're talking area, it is units squared. And the surface area of a cube, because it has 6 congruent faces, you take the area of one face and you multiply it times 6. Okay, so let's do 2 sample problems. If the edge of a cube is 5 centimeters, what is the surface area of a cube? Well, what we're talking about is if we have a cube, the edge would be 5 centimeters. And in a cube, recall that we have 6 congruent faces. So if one edge is 5, it's a cube, so they're made of squares. So they both, the dimensions that you would multiply together to get the area of one face would be 5 times 5, which would be 25 centimeters squared, but that's just one face. And there are 6 that are identical, so we would multiply times 6, 120, 150 centimeters squared, 30, 12, 30, 15. So the area, the surface area, the area of all of the faces of that cube is 150 centimeters squared. So how do we do the problem if they give us the surface area first? So if the surface area of a cube is 54 inches squared, what are the dimensions of the cube? So we're just working this step, this process backwards. So we know that we need to find the dimensions of one of the faces, and that those will be the same because it's a cube. 54 inches would be 54 inches squared would be the product of all 6 of the areas together. So we would divide 54 by 6 to get the area of one face. Okay, so now we're looking at what number times itself gives us 9. So what is the square root of 9? Because that's what we're doing, right? We're finding the area, so we're finding 9 little squares. What numbers go on the outside of the square then? Square root of 9 would be 3. So each, the dimensions of the cube would be 3 inches. So it'd be a 3 by 3 by 3, because there would be 3 dimensions. It's 3 by 3 by 3. Every edge is the same. So that is how you calculate the surface area of a cube given a side or an edge length, and how to work backwards if you're given the surface area of a cube. Okay, so a lot of vocabulary for you to go through. Make sure that you understand what they mean. You will be asked in problems things about rectangular and triangular prisms and faces, edges, and vertices. You will also be asked to draw some, so please review the instructions on page 473. Okay, and with that, I will see you in class.